On June 1, 2020, U.S. authorities discovered a shipment containing approximately 3.2 tons of cocaine, valued at an estimated $2.1 billion. This was the largest drug bust in U.S. history and one of the largest in the world at the time. The shipment of cocaine was hidden inside banana crates and was being transported from Colombia, a country well known for producing cocaine. U.S. law enforcement received intelligence tips about a large shipment of drugs being transported from Colombia through Mexico and eventually into the U.S. This led to the opening of an investigation involving various drug trafficking organizations operating in South and Central America. Agencies like the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, Customs and Border Protection, CBP, and the Los Angeles Port Police coordinated efforts to monitor this shipment. After a few months of surveillance and intelligence gathering, authorities identified the shipment and its route. The drugs were being transported via sea freight, one of the most common methods for drug smuggling, especially through major ports like Los Angeles, where drugs can be moved to various regions in the U.S. and beyond. Authorities began monitoring all containers and shipments arriving at the port, working with international law enforcement to identify the source of the shipment. Upon inspection of the shipment at the Los Angeles port, officers noticed unusual markings on the crates of bananas. After further examination, they found cocaine hidden inside the crates, concealed within compartments that had been specially designed to avoid detection by standard screening methods. After the drugs were discovered, authorities expanded the investigation to identify the individuals responsible for the shipment and any larger network involved. They began working with Mexican law enforcement, Colombian officials, and other international agencies to uncover the drug cartel behind the shipment. The authorities soon realized that this was part of a highly sophisticated operation run by one of the most notorious drug cartels in the world. The cartels used highly advanced methods to hide the cocaine within legal shipments, making it difficult for authorities to detect. Cocaine is often smuggled inside fruits like bananas, vegetables, or other legitimate goods to bypass security checks at the port. The traffickers designed special compartments in the crates, which could easily evade standard X-ray machines and scanners, using both technology and manual efforts to avoid detection. Investigations revealed that this particular shipment was part of a larger network involving multiple countries. The drugs originated in Colombia, passed through Mexico, and were intended for distribution in the U.S. The Mexican cartels were deeply involved, with connections in the U.S. ready to receive and distribute the cocaine. The use of encrypted communication channels and hidden financial networks also played a role in how the cartels operated without detection. Authorities also uncovered links to international money laundering operations, where proceeds from drug sales were funneled into legitimate businesses across the globe. U.S. authorities, led by the DEA and CBP, used advanced technologies such as X-ray scanning and chemical trace detection to track shipments across multiple international borders. Working with international law enforcement agencies like Interpol, they set up a task force to address the issue of cocaine trafficking from Colombia and Mexico into the U.S. After the drugs were discovered, law enforcement agencies continued their investigation to trace the people behind the shipment. A long and complex manhunt was launched to capture the criminals running this international operation. DEA agents worked with the Mexican Federal Police, Colombian National Police, and U.S. Customs and Border Protection to follow the trail. Their goal was to track down the kingpins behind this massive shipment. As investigators uncovered the supply chain and methods used by the traffickers, they identified key individuals in the cartel. Some of these individuals had been operating in the drug trade for years, with links to global smuggling networks that spanned multiple continents. Through extensive surveillance and undercover operations, law enforcement was able to apprehend several key players in the cartel. These individuals were interrogated, and their cooperation led to further arrests and the dismantling of several layers of the drug trafficking network. After months of tracking and investigation, authorities were able to arrest several high-ranking cartel members, successfully breaking up the operation behind the shipment. Law enforcement made multiple arrests in the U.S., Mexico, and Colombia, including several of the cartel's senior leaders. These individuals were responsible for orchestrating the shipment and coordinating the logistics of moving the drugs through multiple countries. Some of the cartel members cooperated with the authorities, providing valuable information about how the cocaine was smuggled and where it was being distributed. This led to further seizures and the identification of other criminal activities related to the trafficking. The cartel members arrested were charged with a range of crimes, including drug trafficking, money laundering, and organized crime. They faced lengthy prison sentences and were held accountable for the lives impacted by their criminal activities. The 3.2-ton cocaine bust had far-reaching implications. Not only did it disrupt one of the largest drug trafficking operations in the world, but it also highlighted the complexity of international drug smuggling operations and the efforts of law enforcement to combat them. The seizure led to enhanced security measures at ports around the world. Customs agencies implemented stricter screening procedures for cargo, and international cooperation in tracking and stopping drug shipments was ramped up. This bust sent a strong message to drug cartels worldwide. The level of law enforcement coordination and the scale of the operation demonstrated that authorities were getting better at tracking and stopping international drug trade operations. The seizure reinforced the importance of international collaboration in combating drug trafficking. Countries like Colombia, Mexico, and the U.S. began working together more closely to share intelligence and conduct joint operations. These partnerships are now vital in the fight against the international drug trade. Following the bust, many governments reviewed and strengthened their drug policies. The U.S. introduced more robust measures to fight money laundering and drug trafficking, while countries in South America and Mexico began expanding their anti-cartel efforts. While the bust had a significant effect on the drug cartels, it also raised awareness about the global reach of drug trafficking and its detrimental impact on society. Drug abuse and addiction continue to be a major issue in both the U.S. and globally, with the destruction of drug shipments having little impact on the underlying demand for cocaine and other illicit substances. Authorities acknowledged that seizing large quantities of drugs did not eliminate the root causes of drug addiction. The focus shifted toward tackling addiction prevention, rehabilitation, and recovery programs for individuals affected by drug use. The bust also had economic consequences, particularly on the black market and legitimate industries impacted by the cartel's operations. Some businesses that were unknowingly tied to the cartels suffered as a result of the exposure and subsequent legal actions. Drug traffickers are constantly evolving their tactics, and authorities must stay ahead of these developments to effectively disrupt their operations. With the increasing use of drones and unmanned vehicles to transport illicit goods, law enforcement is investing in technology to detect and intercept these smuggling attempts. Advances in surveillance, satellite tracking, and radar systems are playing a crucial role in curbing the new methods of trafficking. International cooperation continues to be key. Joint operations between agencies like Interpol and DEA enable the exchange of intelligence that leads to the identification and dismantling of global drug networks. While this bust was a significant success, the drug trade continues to flourish in other parts of the world. Cartels find new routes and methods to move their goods, meaning the fight against drug trafficking will never truly end. With the disruption of traditional trafficking routes, cartels have shifted focus to emerging markets in Asia, Africa, and Eastern Europe. These regions have become new battlegrounds in the war against drug trafficking. The bust of the largest cocaine shipment in history marked a turning point, but it is only one chapter in an ongoing battle. The international community must continue to adapt, evolve, and cooperate in the fight against drug cartels, with a focus on both stopping smuggling and addressing addiction prevention.